Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/IDontWorkHereLady. Today we have a couple of stories. In the first story, you're buying a place. Don't forget that employees aren't sold with the real estate. And I'm also hoping you'll watch the video all the way to the end and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. So our first story. Actually, Ken, I don't work here anymore. Or for you. A friend of mine recently reminded me of this, the absolute best time I ever had dealing with a Karen in the wild. It happened about 30 years ago, so I'm going strictly by memory here. I also have no clue what the name for a male Karen is, so I'll call him Ken. Sorry this came out so long, but I do think you'll enjoy it. I used to work for a chain convenience store, and back in the late 80s, it ran into financial trouble, and corporate decided that to cut costs, it would sell off or shut down all locations that didn't have gas stations attached. That included my location. Since those stores were sold/closed, our positions would be eliminated and we'd be out of a job. Although I was only the assistant manager for our location, I was effectively running things as corporate had decided to pull my manager off to a different location, and the assistant would be good enough since the store was closing anyway. On to the story. Cast, HH, head honcho guys from corporate in charge of selling the store. Slightly involved near the end. Ken, entitled dude who bought our location. And, of course, moi. Once the chain announced that they were closing the stores, it was no secret that we would be shutting down. Of course, the employees were still expected to give good customer service, and that was usually no problem, as we're in a good area and had pretty decent customers. They liked us, we liked them, but at the same time, we gave no flips to the occasional Karens. It was nice being able to shut them down. What are they going to do, fire us? Good times. I wish I could remember specific instances, but 30 years. They all kind of run together now. So the most entitled of all, though, was Ken. Turns out he'd bought our location from the chain and would be taking it over in about a month. During that time, I was working with HH guys from corporate, doing things at the store level for the sale. Meanwhile, Ken came in a few times a week, demanding that certain things be done as if he already owned the place. He wanted us to change displays, order specific products, etc. HH guys had already told me to ignore his demands, so all of them were met with some variation of, "No, Ken, I work for chain, not for you. This isn't your store yet," which sent Ken off into all his huffing glory, yelling that I wouldn't be acting that way once he ran the place. Fast forward to the final day. All the other employees had worked their last shift, and as acting manager, I opened the store that morning. HH guys arrived to go through whatever they needed to, and shortly before noon, Ken showed up. Ken and HH guys went in the back, and once they came back out, we closed the store in order to finalize everything. HH guys and I cashed out the register for the last time, and most importantly, I turned over my key to the store. Once that was done, something close to the following happened. HH, "Okay, Ken, we're done now. It's all yours now." They started packing up to leave. Me, just making sure chain no longer owns this location. Ken is in charge now, yes? HH confirms. So I step out from behind the counter, and of course, Ken starts yelling. I think yelling was his default mode. Ken, "Where do you think you're going?" Me, "Home, what does it look like?" Ken, "You get back here and get your butt back behind that counter where it belongs." Me, "No, I don't work for you." Ken, "What do you mean, no? I told you things would be different when I took over, and now you have to do what I tell you to do." Me, with a huge grin on my face, "You just don't get it, do you?" Ken looked confused. "You bought the store, you bought the inventory, you did not buy the employees, and you sure as hell didn't buy me. So I'll say it one last time, and try to get this through to whatever functional cells may be floating around in your empty head. I don't work for you. Never have, never will. And since chain store number 1234 no longer exists, I don't work there anymore either. Since I'm no longer needed here," nod to HH guys, "I'm leaving." Ken starts sputtering and yelling incoherently, realizing that he now has nobody to work the register as I walk to the doors for the last time. Of course, I can't help myself. As I'm pushing the door open, I turn around, give Ken my best customer service smile, and a cheery, "Have a nice day," If I remember correctly, the store didn't open again for a couple of days, at least, while Ken tried to hire some employees, but anyone from the neighborhood who'd seen him treating us so badly before the sale wanted nothing to do with him, and even once it reopened, it didn't last long. Who in their right mind thinks that buying a store equals buying the employees too? We have a word for that. It's slavery, and it's illegal. Did you even read the contract? I bet nowhere in it did it say the employees would stay. And moving on to our second story. I'm not a very judgmental type, but seriously, F you, dude. Throwaway for anonymity reasons. Background. There's a theme park a mile or two away from the town where I grew up, and me and 4 of my friends all had these special all-year admission passes that we all saved up our allowances, cash from pawning off old stuff, and gifts from financially generous elderly relatives for. So we would go pretty much every other weekend. We were 13 at the time. This was 2010. It's also worth mentioning that I'm pretty tall for a girl. In fact, I'm 6'3" today, and back then I was like 5'9" or 5'10" if memory serves. So mistaking me for an adult was within the realm of possibility, even for someone who didn't happen to be a complete moron. The employees at this park wore different colored polos and t-shirts depending on where in the park they worked, as well as black or brown pants or shorts. I was wearing a red t-shirt and brown shorts that day, which I was slightly concerned about at the time, but A, I was barely a teenager, so I wasn't expecting to be mistaken for an employee, and B, I really wanted to show off the new t-shirt to my friends. See, if on the off chance somebody did mistake me for an employee, I could just tell them I was a guest and they'd understand, right? Right. Wrong. I was so very hopelessly wrong. So this gaggle of young teen girls spent a whole day riding every ride, playing every game, and being scammed by every rigged arcade machine. After we were done with most rides, we were ready for the biggest, best ride in the park. Every park has that one ride that's the one everybody thinks of and all the advertisements show. We always saved that ride until after we'd gone on all of the others we wanted to go on, and we were finally ready. But one of my friends wanted something to eat, and after we all agreed, we were pretty hungry, so we decided to get food. I'd just gotten some fries and was walking away to meet my friends when someone tapped me on the shoulder. So I turned around. That's when my little minute in hell began. Enter entitled B-word stage left. Also paraphrasing alert. EB, where are you taking those fries? Me. Excuse me? What do you mean? EB, who ordered those fries? Where are they? Me. These are mine. What are you talking about? Do you think I work here? EB, well, of course you do. How come whatever lazy butthole ordered those fries gets them taken right to him while we all have to wait in line? Me, mister, I don't work here. These are my fries. EB, don't F with me, B-word. Here's a little something for the B-word who thinks he's too good for wait in line. And he spat on my fries. It was at this point my friend, F, showed up. She'd been at a stall a few feet away and must have seen me in trouble. She's twice the woman I am, even back then. F, what's going on? I didn't say anything. I was just kind of shocked. EB, on the other hand, was more than happy to speak up. EB, are you one of those who can't be bothered to wait for her food like everyone else? Well, kid, your precious fries are ruined, so get in line. F looked at my fries, immediately realized what had transpired, and grabbed the guy, who must have had at least 10 inches and 200 pounds on her, by his shirt and said this to him. Listen here, butthole. You just ruined my friend's fries, and you will pay for more, or else. EB snickered. Or else what? F then proceeded to kick EB hard in the shins. Probably a stupid move, but it was nice to see the guy in pain, and at this point a real employee approached EB and immediately turned to her. EB, this little crap just kicked me. How come she doesn't have to wait in line? F, this guy spat in my friend's fries. After some drawn-out bickering and explanation, EB caved, gave a half-butted apology, and practically sprinted off. I got 2 orders of fries for free to make up for it, and after eating them, we went on the big ride, and I felt better right away. I'm still good friends with F to this day, and we went back to the theme park recently. I wasn't wearing anything similar to the uniform that time, though. And our third story. Company paid me for months after I'd quit, since they didn't realize I didn't work there anymore. When I was in college, I worked for maybe 2 weeks at a clothing store that's well known for their ads with preppy, muscular college guys with no shirt and pretty girl-next-door type girls. My roommate worked there, so I got a job there as well. I never worked somewhere that was as badly managed as this store. I showed up for my shifts the first week and nobody even knew I was supposed to be there or what I was supposed to be doing. They just told me to walk around and fold clothes and never trained me on anything. My roommate and I would leave and shop in the mall. You had to wear their clothing to work there, and when I went to buy some clothes with my discount, the manager, another college girl, told me to just take it. That's what they all do. I'm not someone who's comfortable with stealing, so I insisted on paying for my things, which seemingly annoyed the manager. I ended up just not going back to work and quit after like a week or two. The place was such a train wreck. I kept receiving paychecks, though, for weeks after I'd quit. I called corporate and tried to explain that I didn't actually work there anymore, but was still getting paid for my scheduled shifts, and they seemed just as confused as I was. The paychecks kept coming. I called multiple times as I was worried they were going to demand that I'd have to pay the money back when they realized their mistake. I was getting annoyed by having to keep calling. Someone in corporate told me to just keep them and he would fix the issue. They finally stopped coming after about 2 months of free pay, and I never did have to pay the money back. Years later, I was married and received a letter from a lawyer in the mail regarding a class action suit against the company I'd worked for all of a week or two, claiming, ironically, I was entitled to money from them for not paying me enough. It had something to do with them requiring employees to wear their clothing, which was funny considering I knew those employees had been stealing anyway. I figured I might as well be included in the class action as I had purchased quite a few pieces of their clothing for my very short time of working there, and to be honest, I was just amused by the whole thing at this point and wanted to see what had happened. I ended up getting a $100 gift card in the mail a while later after I'd forgotten all about it. They calculated it based on how long I was paid for my employment there, not by how long I was actually employed there. I was like, man, this store really wants to keep paying me even years later. They refused to take the hint that I don't work here, lady. Thank you all for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next video.